Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
So Chris, I'm looking forward to this, brother.
So am I.
All right, I'm gonna let you take it away.
Thank you. I'm gonna let you finish, and then
I am done. I am done.
This is the pickle
on, Mr. Chris Pirillo, ladies and gentlemen.
I will try not to suck. So I asked for a couple of web pages because we've got some time to fill before 10:30. I just want to make sure people who are expecting me at 10:30 would be able to see. A while ago, I ran into a frustration where I'd have these great conversations on Twitter and wasn't able to capture those conversations to post in my blog. So I crowdsourced an idea, threw it out there, and a programmer, a developer in Florida, I believe, we came up with this service, Twickie, Twickie. You log in by way of OAuth through Twitter, which means it uses your Twitter credentials. And once you've done this with your Twitter account, I don't know if you're connected to Twitter on that machine, but I mean, I can't control that computer, so it's not mine. Either way, you sign in through Twitter, it pulls in your tweets, and if anybody had replied to those tweets, you can export that conversation in HTML, I think we've got a JavaScript embed, et cetera, et cetera. The idea is to save those great conversations you may have in Twitter, even searches that you may do on a keyword, and easily export them in a various amount of ways. So it looks like we're going to try this here. So reminding me I need to be here right now, and it's actually a ringtone from Jeff Smith, the Jeff Smith. I just hit snooze too. So the idea is you can get in the responses, if there anybody who would reply to any of these tweets of this user, you could get the oldest first, get the newest first, etc. This is a way to archive your conversations in a blog. And I'll be getting back to this later, so I'm actually glad we had some time to go over this. Twickie, Twickie. And then the second tab, last night when I was trolling Jeff Smith's chat room, I was doing this fun bit of, text fun with upside down text and wacky looking text. This is another project that I crowdsourced. I basically threw it out to the internet. I said, wouldn't it be great if you could type in a string of text, which the gentleman in the back controlling the computer can do, or anybody can do. Type in any bit of text. This works on the iPhone, the iPad, desktop web browsers. And as you do that, what will appear below are Unicode characters that you can scroll down. You can copy and paste any of the characters that you see there. There's tons of them as you move down the list. It's nothing fancy, it's just a font. These are Unicode characters within a font. That's why it works pretty much everywhere. You can take this, you can copy and paste it into a tweet. I think if you select a range of text, it'll actually prepare you to copy it to the clipboard anyway. And then you can tweet it out with another button that's somewhere, I think, way down the page. Either way, this is Funicode or F-Unicode. And if you're ever looking for an easy way to generate upside-down text or binary or Rock13, you can press the tweet button and it'll automatically generate it, push it into a tweet with the link where everybody can discover how you found it. So those are two things that I thought would be kind of fun to show off. And then add the hashtag there, very good. So, okay, so are we closer to the time? Yeah, we're pretty close. I usually don't take questions from the beginning. But it's fun. Crowdsourcing is a great I guess, way to get things done. Things that you can't do yourself, sometimes you just have to throw it out there and hope that someone else out there can help you get the job done. In many ways, it's how a lot of open source projects start, through crowdsourcing ideas. If we want to go ahead and start the presentation, that's fine too. I'm trying to stay very mindful of the time. And it's should be, there we go. And hopefully everybody can see that bit of text. Okay.
What's your name?
My name is Chris. And the subtext says, go ahead, Google my first name. I dare you. And if at any point in the conversation you care to reply to me on Twitter or say that I suck or whatever, I put my Twitter handle in the bottom lower right-hand corner of every slide. So, I'm frequently asked what it is that I do. And it's difficult to explain what I do because what I do is me. My career is carved out of my own passions and interests. So back in 1992, when I first got online, long before the web was around. I was addicted to communication and sharing thoughts and ideas with other people from all around the world. It was thrilling, sitting across a computer lab with an individual, emailing the person and not talking to them, and we were able to communicate without talking. That was exciting for me, not because I'm introverted or an agoraphobe, but it sparked something inside me, and I was addicted to the internet from pretty much that moment forward. Started getting into a lot of news groups, posting creative writing, poetry, prose. I was always looking for really cool software. For back then, it was the PC, largely in the days of DOS. And I became addicted to software and realized that, I've got to figure out how I'm going to make this work for me. And at that time, I was an elementary ed major with a theater minor, and quickly switched over to an English major with the English education, because I had to do something with the English degree, right? So I went into English because I was really enjoying this internet thing, and all you could do on the internet at that point was really type. You could do other things. You'd have to view a graphic. You would first have to decode the graphic, this string of text, and then re-encode it on your local machine to view this image that you downloaded from the internet or Usenet news groups by and large. It was a kludge for all intents and purposes, but it was fun too. A bit outdated by today's standards, but it's what pulled me in. And so when people wonder how I have continuously been myself over the years, I have no explanation. It wasn't a major. It wasn't anything that I had expected to do. Everything that has come has been through just opportunities popping up. And so when people ask me what I am, what do I do, it's very difficult to say, other than I'm just Chris, I'm myself. And I'm very lucky to have carved out a career that allows me to be myself. And I can only hope that those of you in this room who have been hoping to, keep your own passions alive and figure out how to make them work, as in how to make money, that Open Camp will help you down that path. So let's see if I get this right. Yay, it worked. So, yes, I'm a geek, but I am not a developer or a designer. So if you tell me that you don't like the way something looks or works, I agree with you. I think my blog sucks. I think everything that I work on sucks. It could be better. I suck, right? So I'm not going to stand up here and say, oh yeah, my stuff is awesome, and you're going to come and visit my site because it's the best. No, it sucks. Seriously. It's bad. I constantly struggle, with visions of what I have, and when I see this could work, this could really happen, but I have no ability to design or develop, so I have to wait for it to happen. Back in the day, when I first started LockerGnome, it was a series of email newsletters, because that was something that I could handle, but even then I had to figure out how I was going to distribute email newsletters with software that didn't exist. And most of the software, even today, kind of sucks, although it's much better. We didn't have tools like WordPress around. CMSs, content management systems, were expensive, unwieldy, way beyond my reach. I guess I've been a blogger since at least 1996, long before blogging software was around. It was just that personal voice that allowed me to communicate with people all around the world instantaneously and share our passions together. So, yeah, everything that I have, I'm not very happy with. I'm not happy at all, and I've been reaching out consistently over the years to try to find partnerships to make my stuff work better. When I know there's something that I need, and I know that I can't get to it, sometimes I will crowdsource it. If it's an idea that I think could benefit everybody else, like the ability to archive tweets or maybe make up some fun text, if I know I can't do it, and I think it should be relatively simple for somebody else to do, I don't hold on to that idea. Because holding on to the idea is worth nothing. I can't execute upon that idea. And I have the same frustrations with, one of the primary ways that I drive revenue or create money online. My blog, and specifically a blog network, which is what LockerGnome had evolved into. But the bottom line is that it hasn't stopped me from doing what I do. I know what I'm not, and that's good to know what I'm not. It's good to know what you can't do, because then you know where there are gaps to fill. But just because I don't like the way something's working or looking, yes, it keeps me moving towards trying to find a solution for it, but it doesn't keep me from using it. And so many people get caught up on, I have to have this, that, and the other thing before I can do this. It's not always the case. You don't have to be perfect to just start doing something. Just, the tools are definitely there. I mean, a phone these days can do everything that you possibly need, whether it's entering text, recording video. You don't have to worry about fancy setups, and you don't have to worry about getting this particular microphone, this particular lens, and this particular lighting. It's not really about that. If that is what, if that's what's holding you back from doing what it is that you want to do, you're holding yourself back. The technology is not holding you back. Just start doing it. I do hate PowerPoint. That's why these slides are very anemic, but I have to keep myself somewhat focused. So with that, in what were the words that were used? Contentization, communitization, and commercialization, I think. Somewhere in the description, that's at least what I read on the iPhone app. I'm like, all right, I can do that. So I've long explained that community is inside of each and every one of you. You're familiar with the Venn diagram, cross over different circles, and if you think of yourself as a walking Venn diagram, all your interests are wherever you go. Sometimes your blog could be an extension of that, if it's a personal blog, or if it's a blog about a particular passion of yours. Maybe a professional blog, it may be something that you're doing as a part of a business or a larger entity. But it's not really, I guess, an ecosystem of sorts, to use a phrase that Microsoft uses all the time. Community is not separate from commerce, is not separate from content. They all kind of go and flow around one another. And if you focus on one more than you focus on another, you have a chance, a great chance of losing the third component. So where does it start? Well, I don't know. Sometimes it starts with commerce. Sometimes it starts with a product that you're selling, and before you know it, it becomes the thing out of which springs the community, and out of the community springs content. Could be content. You could be publishing something, your perspectives on a matter, maybe photos, video, text, whatever. You're producing content, and out of that content, people come to you and realize, hey, you're an awesome person, and I really identify with you and what you're doing, and suddenly there's community, and out of community then comes commerce, because, hey, we want a t-shirt with your face on it. It's happening. You're probably not going to make a lot of money with t-shirts, by the way. That's a mistake I learned long ago. Don't listen to your community for everything. Because I got it. This is years before Cafe Press and Zazzle, these great services where you can upload a logo and print something on demand. Great services. Didn't have them way back when. And I would get people saying, you know, we really like your little Locker Room character. This is a cartoon I drew of my face. And, have you thought about doing t-shirts? I'm like, not really. And then I just happened to meet someone who did this, a brander, this is what they did for a living. And so we, kind of guessed, and we printed some stuff up. That stuff sat around collecting dust for the longest time. And I thought, yeah, this was stupid. There's times to listen to your community. There's times your community will tell you where you're going right and where you're going wrong. But ultimately, you are in control of your own direction. There was a time back in 1997, I think I was distributing the Locker Room email newsletter, which is, I wrote a lot about software way back when and what you could do on the internet. Believe it or not, it wasn't that big. So one day, I had written something apparently in the newsletter that upset someone, and so they emailed me back a rather nasty email. And I felt bad, because in just about everything I do, I put my heart and my soul into it. I put myself into everything that I do. I can't find any middle ground. I'm either in or I'm out. So I felt bad. And my roommate at the time walks in. He's munching popcorn, as he was prone to do. Hopefully he's not going to get diverticulitis, because I don't think he's ever stopped. And I was depressed, and he says, "What's wrong?" I said, "Oh, this guy complained, and I did something, and he's right, I said it wrong, and I offended." And he says, keeps eating his popcorn, it's like, "How many people are you emailing at this point?" I said, "I don't know, like 20, 30,000. He said, "And how many people complain?" I said, "Oh, just this one guy." He said, "Then shut the bleep up." I'm not going to mention it. I'm not going to say it. I'm trying to be respectful with language. But yeah, he basically said, "It's just one guy. One guy out of 30,000 people complain."
Right.
What was I worried about? And that put everything into perspective for me. So it sometimes is a bit difficult to be able to communicate with a lot of people and lose yourself in that. And not necessarily thinking about what other people are going to think of you. That helped me get over that hump. Because I'm just going to be myself. If you don't like me, I don't care. I really don't care. Seriously. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life trying to suck up to people who aren't going to like me no matter what I do. If you have one takeaway from this session, let that be it. Okay? Be yourself. Be yourself, the content will flow, the community will happen, and potentially commerce. But if you let the community tell you where you need to go without you feeling you need to go there, you're just going to have problems. Because then you're living your life for somebody else. I'm sure I ask people to follow me on Twitter, right? But I also apologize if you follow me on Twitter or watch anything that I do. I don't think it's that great. I really don't. And I'm honestly doing a lot of it because I want to do it. And I love sharing. And because of that, I guess some people have been interested in following what I do. You can do the same thing, really. Here's the kicker, and I'll get back to this again in another slide. You have as much power as everybody else in this room, myself included. Everybody in this room. The internet is this great disintermediator, and it was even way back when. It's only gotten easier to publish your thoughts. If your thoughts are good, if your content's good, you can rise out of the din of the content mess that is the internet. If you're doing something unique, good, valid, people always ask, well, how do you get started? You just do. What are you waiting for? If you're waiting for an invitation, it's not going to come. The invitation is that the tools exist. There are people who are already a part of your community. You just may not know it yet. Serendipity will bring opportunity. Serendipity will bring people to you. Of this particular puzzle, content and community and commerce, the one that may never happen is commerce. But between content and community, that's a pretty strong bond. And I'm sorry I didn't indicate that with scale of arrows and everything. I've got OCD, so I had to make everything as even as I possibly could. I do. So I love the OCD FW tag. Although it's not in alphabetical order, so it's kind of like screwing some. So you probably, if you wanted to catch my tweets, you got to look at the other alphabetical order tag. I'm kidding. Don't search for that. I didn't really do that. Although it does annoy me. So, bottom line, it's so easy to create content. It really, I can't say it always has been though. But don't get so tied up in, I need it to be this platform. No, you don't. You just want it to get from point A to point B. And whatever's easy for you is what's going to work. Whatever is the least amount of hurdles for you to get from where you are to getting your thoughts out there. It's great. This is what's great about Twitter and YouTube. Really easy to get your stuff out there. And then I would go as far as to say, when my dad came to me and he said, I want a website, I need a blog, I thought about all the options out there. And the one option I recommended was Tumblr. And I'm not sure how many people have talked about Tumblr here. I mean, I know it's open camp and everything. But unfortunately, I hate to tell you, WordPress is not as user-friendly, even WordPress.com, as Tumblr is for someone like my dad, who would call me for support. So if anybody is going to recommend Drupal ever to me again, you better hope you're not within arm's reach, because I will reach out and throttle you. Sorry to offend any Drupal folks, but Drupal has been, by and large, the most painful experience I've ever had in this industry. Painful. Long story, and I know I'm stepping on toes. I know it's open source, but if there's an issue with Drupal, it's that it hits you over the head with its power. Software that requires a manual has failed. Period. End of story. And WordPress can be just as bad. So, I'm not an evangelist for one platform or another, and I definitely don't have anything to sell you guys, okay? But it is a part of my ethos that if I've got to figure out how to use something, I don't want to use it. And yes, you could probably blame Apple for that. I'm sure you will. It's funny, anymore, I could write something neutral on the web. I could do a video, something neutral, and I could be attacked by 2 different people. Oh, you Apple lover! Oh, you Apple hater! Over the same piece of content. It's not about you and what you're putting out there. It's how people project themselves onto you. So when you decide to switch away from Windows Vista, that wonderful operating system, to Mac OS X, and people are upset at you for your decision, it's their problem, not yours. You're sharing this information, you're sharing your passion, you're sharing your ideals for you. If anybody else gets something out of it, great. But that content's only going to be genuine if you're genuine. The community is only going to come to you if you are yourself. And commerce is only going to flow from that in this complete circle of life if those 2 pieces are put together. So by the way, if you came here looking for the top 10 ways of monetizing your blog through all the black hat tactics, that's not what I do. Because everybody here has got a different mission. You guys have different goals, you have different backgrounds. And it would literally take me more than a month to go through everybody in this room to address everybody's needs. But this is the bottom line. Your blog is a nexus. Do not Laporte yourself. And I say this with all respect to Leo. I looked at the blog post he wrote the other week and I shook my head. I'm like, Leo, what were you thinking? Leo, very smart man. Genius, leader. But for some reason, he was letting his community flow out on Google Buzz, which I think 3 other people use at this point. He has great conversations, because it's Leo. Honestly, he could fart, it would be made into a movie options and a book deal and everything. So he's got great community, right? And it doesn't matter where Leo goes, the community will follow. I mean, you guys can be in the same league as Leo sooner or later. So he put all his content on Google Buzz and then was upset because Google Buzz had lost something due to a bug. He said, well, maybe I should use my blog again. I'm like, why did you stop? The blog is the one thing you control. You own that domain. You may not own the software that's running on that domain, but you should own the content you're producing in your blog to be able to pick it up and move it somewhere else. And I tell you, if a blog or a blog network does not allow you, even I would go as far as to say a social media tool, does not allow you to extract your content as easily as you put it into it, they're along the wrong path. I can't say I've always done this with Twitter, but when I figured this out well over a few years ago, I started archiving my tweets on a weekly basis. So that way I would have a local copy of that content for myself. But your blog is a nexus. You can live on YouTube, I do. Twitter, I do. Facebook, yeah. Anywhere, that's fine. You can create content everywhere else. But if you do not have that central point, that nexus point, to collect that information, that data that you're putting out there, then you're missing the idea of even having a blog. That's your nexus point, okay? Every YouTube video that I put out there, I am absolutely sure I embed in a blog post. I have it written up, I have it transcribed, and then I also include a link to the podcast video, which I upload to Lit TV because it's easy hosting, I don't have to worry about it. So I've got 2 copies of that video. So if YouTube decides that I'm, no good anymore, and they might, who knows? Maybe they're on my game. I was no good in the first place. Then they can take all my videos away and I never have access to them. So I have a copy. Now I don't think, I would go as far as to say that maybe 95 of the videos that I've done suck. But that doesn't keep me from doing them, right? And apparently some people think that I don't suck enough to follow me. So that's a good thing, right? But it's the OCD of me, I just want perfection but realize that I can't always have it, but that doesn't stop me. Either way, your blog is where everything needs to come. You don't necessarily have to push people back directly to your blog to find everything, but if you're not thinking of that blog as a nexus point, you're really missing out on the reason a blog can and should exist. There's another thing. People say, it just takes too long to blog. Well, yeah, it's quick to tweet, but as I just explained before, you can also archive your tweets. The video's too difficult. What are you talking about? Dude, I have like home movies, like where my parents would record the camera and you'd have to develop the film so you couldn't, that was a pain in the ass. Doing it on here is not painful at all. You make it painful. It's easy to do if you do it. It may suck, but that's okay, because a lot of stuff that I do sucks. And if I'm doing it, you can do it too. Your blog, your presence is going to grow online as you grow. Who I am today is not the same person I was 10 years ago. In fact, that pisses me off. Sorry. Okay, cat's out of the bag. It upsets me. Sorry. I'm trying to be respectful with language. I have a problem with that. I don't have like Tourette's or anything. Just have bad mouth. So some people, they say, you're not the same person you were 10 years ago. I'm like, well, thank God for that. And that's the answer to that question, if anybody ever throws that to you. It's going to grow, as will you. Your blog is X. It is what you want it to be. And I'd be careful about throwing too many widgets on there, too. Because, the more widgets you put on there, that's data that you're throwing out to other networks that you may never be able to collect back. I mean, I'm always very meticulous about making sure that the data that I'm putting out there, I still at least have a copy of. But make it your way. What's right for me is not right for you. What's right for this person is not right for that person. It's just the way it is. Blogs, yes, are free. But sometimes you gotta pay for good advice. Some people, don't really want to spend money. Like I said, I'm not here to sell you anything. But when it comes time, you may have to spend money. The whole free tard mentality doesn't fly with me. Sorry, that offense. Well, I'm doing a tech tards thing later, so sorry. I apologize for anybody who's going to watch that, by the way. Beforehand. Bottom line, you are already a success. How you measure that is up to you. Others are eventually going to find out. Blog is a great place for you to posit thoughts, to act as a collection point for all this social media gesturing that you're doing, for all the things that you want to do. People will eventually figure it out. Now, whether it's one person or a million people, you're still going to be making these connections. And that blog is that one way you're going to be able to assert your identity on the web. But make no mistake, you've already won the game. It's just a matter of time before others figure that out. And I think that's all I have in that deck. So I think I had the 5-minute warning. I don't know if, boy, Callie, your eyes got big there.
I clapped.
Oh, she started to clap. I'm sorry. Time for like one question? 2 minutes. Okay, so if you ask it really quickly.
One thing real quick.
Yes.
You were complaining about Drupal. Drupal Commons.
Wait.
As I hear it, Drupal Commons is coming out, which will make it a lot simpler, and maybe people like you and me can take it in a little easier. I didn't know if you'd heard of it.
I did look at the Gardens, Drupal Gardens.
Oh,
I logged in.
Wait,
And,
Gardens?
it's a Gardens,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
It was good, but
Back
still the
down.
back end, I was like, wow, no, it's still too unwieldy. They're surfacing too much power.
Questions?
It's like Android. I put Drupal in the same camp as Android. There's a lot of power there, and there's just not enough cohesiveness.
Question down here. Anybody else?
You took us down the path to the past. How about a step to the future?
What's the next hot thing?
Yeah, Drupal
What's
is
next
going to be hot. In like 20 years, it's going to get easy. And you won't need to hire a trainer to figure out how to log in. That's great. Hopefully, guys, seriously, don't take me, Chris Brills and blah, blah, blah. No, seriously, guys. No, it's bad. No, it's bad.
Other questions?
That was Eddie Izzard there. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know what the future really holds, other than tools are going to get easier and easier to use. There will be far more tools out there. People like me, I'm a tool. And you too can be a tool if you want to. No, I think it's just getting easier to get your thoughts from point A to point B. And if there is a future, it is that software and services are going to get easier to use and more accessible. And that's something that's near and dear to my own heart, because I believe that usability should be job one.
Thank you, Chris. The thing that I really appreciate about this man is that you do not have to guess where you stand with Chris Pirillo. You know exactly right off the bat. He is 100% genuine at all times.